Welcome to the Voice of Oneness, your call to awaken. This show is your call to awaken to the truth of your being through the teachings of the Voice of Oneness, spoken by Aumara. On this show, you will receive spiritual guidance and the teachings of oneness from the heart of spirit directly to your heart, along with the tools and techniques to apply these teachings to your day-to-day life. Tuning in each week, you will grow in a deeper, richer understanding of your true nature as teachings are offered about universal spiritual laws that govern our lives. You will learn the right use and application of these laws to achieve the richest life from the perspective of experiencing abundance in all areas of your life. Aumara is a renowned psychic, spiritual teacher, coach, energy healer, mystic, and gifted visionary who taps into the higher realms to join with the vast collective of source energy. Now, your host of Voice of Oneness, Aumara.
Welcome, friends, to the Voice of Oneness, your call to awaken podcast here at WLTK Talk Radio. I am Aumara, your host and presenter of the Voice of Oneness. It is our desire with this show to present the teachings of oneness from the heart of spirit directly to the heart of the listener, to facilitate an expansion of consciousness and assist all in awakening to their true nature. So everything spoken about in any of my podcasts will always be from the perspective of oneness, the oneness teachings, from that which I receive and have received for a very, very, very long time now. So we kind of stay on that path, and we present from the perspective of the teachers of oneness. Not saying that it's the only way. There are many, many ways, but this is just the perspective. So exciting. Tonight we have an announcement. I've decided to have a little fun. So I want to offer a contest for a free reading on each Friday evening during the show for the month of August, for the 4 weeks in the month of August. It's beginning tonight and then running through August. I'm going to select a number from 1 to 10. And if you guess the number, then you win. In order to participate in this contest, you need to put your name in the comment section and a message that says, "Count me in." So I know that you want to be counted. And then add your number that you select from 1 to 10, any number from 1 to 10. So count me in, and then your number, and then you're in. And then the next thing that you need to do is make sure that you're tuning in during the show, because at the end of the show, I'm going to announce the winner. So I'll announce the number and who won, and then I'll make an arrangement with the winner for a reading at our during the week, whenever we can come to a mutual availability, for a 30-minute session with me, free. So I hope that is appealing and you enter and we have some fun. Okay, so tonight's podcast, the theme is living in the flow. Living in the flow. In a fast-paced world with constant distractions, stress, and uncertainty, it is easy to feel disconnected, isolated, and disempowered in your life. But what if you could learn to surrender to the flow of life, trusting that everything happens for a reason and that you are right where you need to be, doing right what you need to be doing at any given moment of your life experience. That is living in the flow. Life is a process, a flow you enter within and allow it to unfold in all of its splendor and beauty. Allow for the love to grow and to flow to and through you, to guide, to strengthen in the knowledge that you are one with this flow. You are one with love. It's a feeling of connectedness which unfolds in marvelous ways. Let's explore living in the flow. Someone asked me this week, how do I select my topics for the shows each week? How do I keep coming up with a topic? So the answer to that is I reflect on the sessions that I've held during the week, the readings I've done, my meditation group that I hold on Tuesday evenings, the discussions we have, coaching clients, where they're at, what they're going through, what their experiences are. And I kind of feel into that, going with the flow to what impresses me, I guess, to prompts me to say, okay, this is a topic. So living in the flow came to me, evolved from that process, as each session each week does, each show, from the struggles that we have and the experiences that we have in living our life, our day-to-day life. And I wanted to address that so that we can become aware of how we are experiencing our life and become aware that we have choice. We have choice in that we are to choose what direction we want our energy to flow in. How do we want to experience life? So if we think of the flow, living in the flow, as the river of life, it flows, the source flows throughout all of creation. And when we're aligned with the river, we allow the river to carry us. And we are carried effortlessly downstream. And we have a lovely ride. If we are not aware of the river and we are kind of bumbling about, and we may enter the water and, oh, this is a river, not aware that it has within it all that we need and can care for us in every way, shape, or form that we could possibly imagine, if we just allow it to be so. But if we're not aware of that, then we try to control. And that control, in effect, is like swimming upstream. Swimming upstream against the flow. So when we're swimming upstream against the flow, we can make some progress. We can reach some of our goals that we may have, or we may experience things that are that which we desire or that which we want to experience. But we've got to continuously fight against the flow, fight against the flow. So eventually we get fatigued. We may get disillusioned. We may feel that it's just too much, too hard, the struggle of life is just too much. And we're not going to be in the place of accessing our true power. We're not going to be available to the realization of our true potential because we're spending so much of our energy in the struggle. And this is what I came to in having the sessions that I had this past week, was the struggles and how do we work with the struggles. So I wanted to address how we can come more into the flow. So Deborah, 44 is your number. I'm assuming that's your number. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for entering the contest, and we'll see what number happens as we move along. I may ask you to select again if we don't have as many participants, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Living in the flow addresses the struggles or the challenges we experience as we attempt to navigate our everyday life. So many of us do not realize we are pushing against that flow, as we just talked about, trying so hard to be what we believe we must be. And it is not at all what must be for our liberation from suffering, which we all want. We all want to feel good. We all want to experience love. We all want a more peaceful world. We all want to experience our highest good when we're on a spiritual path. Not speaking of someone who's not pursuing a spiritual path and is very much not in the stream, in the flow of life, but fighting against it. That's quite different. But those who want to be in the flow of life, who want to experience a journey of which is filled with ease and grace and love, and experience the calm waters most of the time. Not that we do not have storms, for we all have storms. We're in human form. So we're all going to experience storms in our life. They come and they go. But when we're living in the flow, we understand that they're not permanent, that they're not being done to us. We're not a victim of circumstance, that this is happening for a myriad of reasons of which we may not be aware of. And we understand that it has a beginning and it will have an end. We just allow it to be, and we don't get caught up in trying to stop it or trying to direct the flow. The flow is not ours to direct. It's ours to merge with, but not to direct. So that's where I think a lot of us kind of get caught. We want to be in the flow, and we try very hard, and we study different spiritual teachings, we go to seminars, we listen to podcasts, and we try very hard to become what we are believing that we need to in order to experience an awakening, in order to experience going deeper into the understanding of that which we truly are, in order to have a more powerful experience, in order to become, many people believe, in order to become more psychic, in order to tune into life. That's an energy draw on us. When we're trying so hard to do something, we're not available to the flow. We're trying to direct it. So it's there, it's always flowing. It's saying very gently, very softly, very subtly, come this way, come this way, come this way. Allow yourself to be. Allow yourself to be. Removing from your shoulders the need to become something, the need to control, the need to save yourself or anyone else. This is all very cumbersome and drags one away from the flow, moving upstream and not downstream. So once again, we all experience our life based on what we are believing in any given moment about that which we are. Now, if we were 100% available and in the wholeness of oneness, and we only held the oneness and there was nothing outside of that, then that would be our experience. But because we are in human form, we're living a human expression, We're spiritual beings by nature, having a human experience, experiencing our spiritual nature, referenced through a human experience, so that we are ever evolving in our growth process. We are ever learning more through the experience of that which we are available to in any given moment. So we say some of us have a deeper understanding, maybe what we can consider, I don't want to think of it in terms of above anyone else. We're not above each other. But what we are is expressions of consciousness holding varying degrees of awareness of the true nature of creation. That which we are, we're part of creation. As we grow in awareness, we become more aware, our consciousness expands. So we hold an awareness, we're not above anyone, we're just an expanded view in our role here and now in this play of life. And as we expand, we see, we become available to more, and we see more, and we become available to more by merging with the flow, by allowing ourselves to be transported by the flow of life, cared for. We do this through our acceptance. We do this through the knowledge of that there is the river, which is the source of all of life. It flows to us and through us always, all of us. There isn't any part of creation that's in lack of the flow of life. We may be in denial of it. We may choose to place our energy on what is outside of the flow and believe wholeheartedly that we are doing the right thing, that that's all there is to life. That's part of exercising our gift of free will expression in life, given to us, gifted to us by the Creator, so that we can choose what it is we wish to experience. And all of us having an experience of living life in every moment, all feed into the whole, as we are all connected in that we are a part of the whole. Each one of us is an individuated aspect of the whole, of the oneness. We have come forth into life as the Creator's expression of itself in individuated form, to experience itself with us, through us, as us. Now that seems, for some, a lot. It's like, how is that? How is that possible? If you're hearing it for the first time, it may be very, very difficult to hold. But if we put it in when we're trying very hard to put it in the basic sense, to be understood, not getting more complex and into the quantum physics or any explanation of that nature, just that we have the Creator, the allness, all that is. And all that is wants to experience itself. But it's not able to experience itself because it's all that is. There's nothing outside of it. So it holds the thought then that to experience itself, it's going to create individuated aspects of itself that are always part of the whole, but not the whole. In order to be the whole, all the individuated aspects return to the whole, to the oneness. They return to the whole. So if we imagine we breathe in, and then the Creator had an out breath, and in that out breath, we came forth as sparks of light. We came forth to experience life, to experience that which we are, which is that which we have always been and will always be, which is the allness. We are life. We are love. We are light. We are more than we have words to describe, more than we could possibly understand within the confines of our mortal mind, our limited mind. For we are individuated aspects of the whole. We get to experience the whole with us, experiencing life as us, through us. Because we are part of the whole, we too are creators. We are creator beings. We are parts of the whole. The whole is the creator of all. So we are creators. Now, when we're creating with where we are in the present moment, where we are in that level of awareness. We create, but our creations are not pure in the same way that the Creator, the whole, the allness, God, the source creates, because it's pure love. We are creating through filters that we have within our consciousness based on the experiences that we've had individually and collectively. That which we've experienced in this life and in many other life experiences, that which has been experienced since the beginning of when we were birthed into form as individuated aspects of consciousness. All of these experiences are held within the collective. That's the collective of all of us in the oneness. When we're creating and we have our particular point, our perspective of which we're at, who we believe ourselves to be, and if we're, say, for example, we believe that I am my body, I am this being, I am all that I can achieve in life, I'm all that I can amass in life, I am my material possessions, I am the matriarch of my family, I am the whatever it is role I'm playing in life. That's as far as it goes. I don't believe that there's anything outside of that. So that means that I am going to continue to create because I'm a creator being. I cannot not create. We are always creating. But what we are creating when we do not hold the awareness of what we are doing, we are creating what is termed miscreations. And they become to us very real. And we then take hold of those and believe those to be what is. So as we are living life in our world today, we can see that all around us, magnified at this point in time on the planet. We are experiencing the results of our miscreations based out of the lack of awareness. Not that we're bad, evil, or that we've got the really good folks over here and the really evil folks over here. What we have is we have folks at different points of awareness. Some closer to the oneness, some further away. All holding the oneness spark inside of their being. But not all are open to allow its expression. Not all are open to receive the call. The phone may ring and we may go, not today, not, and ignore it when we get a prompting, an inclination, an opportunity to experience differently. The opportunity is exactly what it is. It's an opportunity. We have opportunities in each and every moment, in each and every breath. Every one of us has an opportunity to choose. And if we do not like our experience is based on the choices we've made thus far. And if we're not pleased with what we're experiencing, it's for us to realize that we need to choose anew and that we get that choice. That's our divine right. Because our life experience is about evolving to new heights of awareness. We evolve. We come back to the oneness. The out breath, we can picture the out breath. We breathe out, boom, out we go. And then we're chargers and we're having experiences through eons of time, doing all sorts of things. Some very noble, some diabolical. It depends on what we're at, what's going on. Doesn't mean that we're not continuing to evolve. Even when it appears we're de-evolving. We de-evolve so that we get to the point where we're totally deconstructed, and the only way from there is to rise up. So when we understand that which we are, we understand ourselves as spiritual beings having a human experience, so that we can get to understand that which we are in truth. So we can come to the realization that I am one with the stream of life. That I can choose to ride downstream. That I can set my intention to join and merge with the source. That I am connecting to that which is within me, the presence. That is never in absence, always present. But we must choose to acknowledge the presence. We must choose to allow the presence to guide us. We must choose to join hands and walk the path together. The path takes us home, takes us back to the oneness. And because we're ever evolving life, it's oneness and beyond. The beyond is for another lesson, another day. Right now, let's stick with the oneness. But we merge back into the oneness. So when we're having the struggles that we're having, when we're experiencing the energy of one another, and we all know we have some very good days, some very high times, And we have some very lows. We have some days where things don't go quite our way. And when we experience life, whether it be a high or a low, it's always for our reflection to decide whether or not we want to continue to journey in that direction, or whether we need to explore what we're holding within us in terms of what we are believing about ourselves. And I say this, for what we believe about ourselves is what we emit into the field and what creates our reality that we're experiencing at any given time. We have our individual reality, and that reality is then relational to the collective expression. We have what's going on in the world and how we experience that based on our belief about ourselves. Someone that is of the level of awareness to believe that this is the expression of all that has been expressed since the beginning of time. All that has come about for the human experience. And it's got to this point, this culmination point here, and this plane of existence, on this timeline, in this dimension, let's say. And it's come forth so that it can be experienced. And as we're experiencing it, we decide whether or not it is what we choose to continue, or is it that which we choose to transform and transcend. The energies of this time are such that the powerful force of love is available to us to assist us in awakening. It's very strong now, as it's calling us to awaken, calling us to transcend and transform that which has been. As we choose truth, to experience truth, and we start to see within our consciousness the untruths, we start to become aware that that which we believed in, that which we were conditioned to accept, is not our truth, but a program. And when we open up to experience this, we are joining with the flow. We are entering into the flow. And then we open up to allow ourselves in each moment of our life to experience that which is revealed to us. Knowing that as we are experiencing the energies of our time, and it is definitely unsettling to the mind that has been programmed to accept, and now it's coming into its sense of resistance. This is not what I choose. I choose the flow. And we enter into the flow. And as we're in the flow, then we open up to allow ourselves to experience that which we choose. And we exercise our power of choice. We say, I choose peace. I choose love. I choose to place myself within the expression of love. This is the bar that I hold for myself. I choose God, my connection with God, source, nature, infinite intelligence, however we want to describe it, the undescribable. Allness is very accurate. If we call it the allness, it is the allness, everything. Everything. Discarding no thing, but everything, as everything holds purpose. Everything is the expression of the all. And as we open up to that, avail ourselves to that, we start to experience life differently. We experience a calmness within, where there was anxiousness before. We realize that we no longer need to control anything. That when we choose to align with the flow, the divine flow of life, we experience our divinity. We then are creating from a higher awareness. We're no longer creating the same miscreations that are causing us pain and suffering. We are creating through the lens of love. And we are assisting to express love in our world. The more of us expressing love, the more this force grows in our experience. The more available are the options for us to choose that are aligned with love. It's as if we are experiencing a new ray of hope, a new ray of light. There's so much more. There's so much more. There's endless possibilities. The thoughts and feelings of hopelessness or feelings of being oppressed begin to dissolve, for we know that we can experience oppression, but it's not who we are, and it's not that which we will always experience. And we can see it now, for it's starting to give way. We are becoming more aware. We are awakening in greater and greater numbers. We are waking up to the fact that we are to live in the divine flow of life. Living in the flow addresses the struggles and the challenges we experience as we attempt to navigate our life. So many of us do not realize we are pushing against the flow. Now, how do we know we're pushing against the flow? Some of us will talk ourselves into believing that we are in the flow, that we are love, that we are light, that we are loving, that we are connecting with the oneness because we understand the concept of oneness. And as we're doing that, we're still experiencing lack in our life, in different areas of our life. Or we're still willing to cast someone out. Groups of people, individual people, places. We're still willing to decide for others what they need to experience. And some of us have no problem letting them know it. And a lot of that is going on in our world today. There are such struggles on every level, for we have yet to allow ourselves to be free. We have yet to choose to enter in to the divine flow, the river of life, to come back into the fold. Come back where we're not fighting against one another, but we realize that the river supports all life. That we don't need to compete for our resources. That we don't need to express from the energy of fear. The survival of the fittest, where we have to be strong. We have to be perfect. We have to appear perfect. How many of us have expressed in life that we are so concerned that we are living the imposter syndrome, that we are carrying out roles that we feel we're not qualified for, but we're just exerting so much energy and swimming upstream to try to make it appear that we are highly qualified. And we're so tired. And we're so disillusioned. We have extremely high rates of anxiety, depression, record-breaking suicides occurring from our subscribing to a particular model of living, of which we have been experiencing, without realizing that there are options, that there is this stream of divine flow, the presence of God within us, all of creation. That wasn't in our teachings necessarily. It was available to very few. Those that had reached a level of consciousness to be admitted into mystery schools, taken on as initiates. That's no longer the case today. Today, the information is available and it's flowing more in the mainstream. And it's beginning to take root as more and more of us are awakening. And this is part of the divine plan. This is as it need be, here in the moment. When we look out and those that I work with say, well, there's so much going on and there's so much hatred and there's so much resistance and there's so much oppression. Yes, there is. Because it has been around for a very, very long time. It's been cultivated. It's been the conditioning of which we've experienced purposefully in this play of life. It's the design. So that we reach the point where we are today. When we look at all that's going on and we say, well, wait a minute. Some of us are awakening. Awakening. What are we awakening to? We're awakening to we are more than we've believed. There's so much more. And we begin to pursue greater awakening. We begin to enter into, by choice, the flow of life. We release the resistance. And those that are continuing to resist are viewing what is taking place, so that they too will reach the point where they will choose. And that moment is of their choosing. We cannot choose for another. We cannot fight against something to make it change. When we fight against something, we add to it. We do not break it down. The breakdown that needs to take place is the breakdown within each and every one of us. Our own experience of life, our own choosing, that's a word, choosing our own expression of the consciousness that we are experiencing here and now. We must begin to reflect within, to consciously choose peace, love, to vision within our mind a world of which we live as one, to imagine what it feels like to express how you feel without fear of retribution, without fear of being kicked out of the club, without fear of losing your job, without fear of being labeled. How wonderful that would be. And that does exist, but not here in our expression at this moment. But it's ours to cultivate. And it's done through each one of us awakening. Our energy is to be focused on our awakening, not on awakening anyone else. Unless someone asks, what are you doing with your life? It's amazing. And then you say, oh, let me share with you. Unless you were prompted to teach in groups or in one-to-one sessions that which you have experienced, then you do so realizing you are a facilitator of information. You are not in control of the outcome. That's important. I've seen so many want to share what they have learned, and they are not truly ready, but they dive in such a profound way, only to meet that within them which hasn't healed. And they are overcome by the need to control. By the temptation of power. By the temptation of admiration. By the temptation of the attention of others. When we are not yet ready to meet those temptations, they can stop us in our tracks. And we can believe that we're doing a good thing by sharing information, but the information will be very limited. And we'll be held with our own unhealed wounds within us. The need for power, control, admiration. The need to believe it is us doing the teaching that it is us as Savior. It's a trap of the mind. That's old energy. We now can set a course for healing. Healing to take place inside ourselves, to really reflect at what's going on within us. Am I ready to stand up, releasing control, allowing outcomes to be what the Creator has created, not which we feel must be? Are we willing to stand up at this pivotal point in our expansion of our collective consciousness and stand for what we know to be in the moment, despite what may come as a result? Have we reached the point within us that we are ready to surrender to the flow of life, to enter into the river and allow it to carry us forward? That's the question we ask. There are many paths to travel, and no one path is the right path for everyone. There's room in the river for all of creation. It's not one group, one religion, one ideology. It's the fullness of life, which contains all journeying to return to the awakening, to the oneness, all at different points along the way. Choose which path brings you joy, which path feels right inside you, which path you are drawn to, and accept in the moment that that's the place for you. Realizing that it is one way to experience yourself where you are at your particular level of awareness, so that it may lift you to greater awareness. And as you journey along, realize that you may be called to move on to a different path. And that is part of your journey. But if we hold so tightly to what we know to be right here and now, then that's all that's available to us. And we have the right to stay right where we choose. But if we are choosing to expand, to continue to awaken to greater and greater levels of awareness, then to be open is what's needed. To be open to experience. I open to the divine flow of life as it flows to me and through me. It is an experiential expression of energy. We get to feel what it feels like to be in the flow, what it feels to feel your life, the energy of your day just flowing so effortlessly. Everything seems to fall into place. All the things seem to come about in your day, the tasks you need to do. You seem to get them all done effortlessly. Everything seems to be free of struggle. That's how we know we're experiencing life in the flow. When we're pushing up against something, we're not in the flow. And then it's going to push back. It needs to push back to let us know, ooh, you're not in the flow. You're pushing against. So then we simply surrender it to the flow. I surrender this to the flow, to the universe, to infinite intelligence, to God, to nature, whatever it is we are holding as our belief in the moment. Holding within our awareness that it is the allness of which exists in every part and parcel of creation, in its expression of fullness. We are a part of that. We experience ourselves living life with all its twists and turns. We encounter the expression of our beliefs as our reality. Not always fully aware that we're doing so, even when we're choosing to be in the flow, even when we're of a point of awareness that we understand that there is a flow, even when we're living life in the flow, we can still be drawn out of the flow. We can still be magnetized to lower frequencies, to discordant energies. We can get caught up in life. When we do, it's to realize, ooh, I'm going along. I'm not feeling too good with this. Wait a minute, let me reflect. Have I given into temptations? Have I aligned with a lower frequency? Have I allowed myself to spend too long in a frequency that is of a lower vibration? And when I recognize that, I simply need to choose to align with the divine flow. And when I choose to align with the divine flow, boom, now I'm rising up in frequency. Living in the flow of life from a spiritual perspective involves embracing a way of being that aligns with the natural rhythms and energies of existence. It is allowing life to unfold gracefully, surrendering to the present moment and finding harmony within ourselves and with the world around us. This concept is often associated with various spiritual traditions. It's been around forever. Some key aspects for living life in the flow. Embrace right where you are. Let's embrace the present moment, meaning right here, right now. I open my eyes, I'm aware of my surroundings. And in this moment, I choose the forward movement. I choose to continue evolving. I choose the divine flow of life, meaning I do not allow myself to align with the past. That which has passed has passed. Past experiences brought me to where I am today. Now here I get to choose moving forward. So I want to align with right where I am in this present moment, not projecting into the future of what I need to do, what I need to control. That takes me out of the flow. I want to be with the flow, allow it to carry me into that which is next when I align with it. And this is a whole lot to condense into one podcast episode. There's so much more that is to be said about this and will be said in future podcasts. But this is just laying the foundation. Surrendering and trusting. I surrender to the flow. I surrender to God. I surrender to the infinite intelligence. I surrender, meaning I know that me of myself can do nothing. Just as was said from Jesus the Christ over 2,000 years ago. Me of myself, I do nothing. It is the Father within me that does all. Meaning aligned with the divine flow. We align with the divine flow. We do not control the flow. When we control the flow, we have miscreations because we're always creating. We don't want to miscreate. We want to create in the flow. Intuition and inner guidance, paying attention to the still small voice within, taking time to connect to this voice, meaning put down the phone, shut off the computer, go off by yourself, sit, close the eyes, tuning out all the extraneous stimuli, focusing inward, connect with the breath that's flowing into the body and out of the body. And do your best just to connect. And as you do that, say, I surrender to the flow. I surrender to the flow. That's it. I surrender to the flow. And as the mind goes all over, and when you realize it's gone astray, just bring it right back. We're back here. We're surrendering to the flow. I'm focusing on my breath. Take the time each day to do that. And as you cultivate that practice, it will grow in the ways of which it needs to meet where you are in your continuing evolution. Listening to the inner guidance, paying attention when you get a feeling. If you got a feeling not to do something and those around you are trying to push you to do it, it's wise to say, no, I'm not feeling it. It takes some doing. It takes some practice. Many of us succumb to the pressure, but we eventually arrive at the position of where we say no. And once we say no and we experience living in accordance with our inner voice, then we feel empowered. And the more we do that, there's no way we're ever going to not listen, because we know what it feels like to listen and the experiences that we have. Gratitude and acceptance, being grateful for, accepting life as it is, aligning with the action to move forward in the flow of life. And with that, I'm going to stop here for a station break, and then we will do the drawing for the reading when we come back. Stay with us. Thank you. Welcome back. This is the Voice of Oneness, your call to awaken at WLTK Talk Radio. And I just want to wrap up living in the flow. Living in the flow is a continual journey. It is a journey. It is a practice. And it's not about achieving a fixed state, but rather embracing the process of growth and self-discovery, discovering our true nature, realizing our true nature, opening up to our true nature. It's always there. We get to have it revealed. By aligning ourselves with the flow, we open the door to a more joyful, peaceful, and fulfilling existence. We get to experience a release of stress, knowing that all is taking place as it need be, and that we don't have to fix anything. We join with the Creator, we join in the flow of life, and we allow it to unfold as we are guided, supported, and then we just allow it to take place. And I have seen so many times that which seemed unsolvable, which was just so immense, things in my own life of which I struggled with until I realized that I was struggling. It took me a while. And then I let it go. And I surrendered. And when I surrendered, immediately it was resolved. So I say to you, choose life in the flow. Allow yourself to experience the beauty, the peace, the calmness. Let go of the struggles. Merge with the divine. Acknowledge the presence within you, living life with you, as you, through you. Begin to experience from that perspective. No matter where you find yourself in this moment, choose that perspective and see how it emerges for you. And so it is. Now we have Deborah, Don, Martin. Deborah, you are the only one that has entered the contest tonight, so you are the winner. So Deborah, I'm going to put it here. Deborah, you are the winner. Please. You're the winner for the live broadcast. The replay, if you're listening to or watching the replay, you can go ahead and submit your number to Aumara at aumarabonet.com with the call line. Congrats, Deborah, with the call line. Count me in, and I will pick the winner from the replays next week during the show as well. So congrats, Deborah. Yeah, please send me your email address. Now, when I'm asking for your email address, it's only to schedule the reading with you. I do not hold it. I do not spam you. I do not bother you with daily emails. Know that. I don't believe in that. Will never participate in that. I'm very upfront with all that I do. Okay. So, Deborah, you are the winner. Please send me your email address. Blessings. Okay, very good. All right. Yeah. So thank you all for joining me this evening, and we'll see you again next Friday night on the Voice of Oneness, your call to awaken. Good night.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTKDB.com.